How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Space Cowboy here with another video for you guys here today. Cowboys win. They take care of business in Cleveland. And then another win, in my opinion, off the field. The Dak Prescott extension is complete. I think about 90 minutes before kickoff or something to that effect. But they get it done, so we're going to talk about that as well in today's video. Before we get into that quick little self-plug, you could skip it in the timestamp if you would like. If you could do me a favor, please hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot in the YouTube algorithm as we're getting back on track. And on top of that, share this video to a friend or family member that might enjoy Cowboys content like this. And then also, comment down below what you think about what's been going on with the Dak extension, the game in Cleveland, etc. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. Next, 92.6% of you guys watching are not subscribed. So, if you like what you're seeing and you keep coming back around, might as well subscribe, you know what I mean? So there is that. And then finally, if you want to support the channel even further, you can hit that join button down below next to the subscribe button. And you can become a media member to help support the channel even further. So, with that self-plug out of the way, let's roll right into the Dak Prescott extension. So, we now know that the Dallas Cowboys have decided that Dak Prescott is the quarterback they want. And I even talked about that in a previous video, which you don't have to go back and watch because I've already alluded to the fact that after the CeeDee Lamb contract was done, this was going to be an inevitability, you know, and they get it done before kickoff. They go out and get a win, which is nice. So let's go over the details really quickly, how I'm feeling about the contract, and overall, was this something the Cowboys should have done? Again, you might not like Dak Prescott, the quarterback, and like him as the person, but with how this team is constructed, it was smart for the Cowboys to pay him, and we'll talk about that in just a second. So, he signed a 4-year, $240 million contract, an $80 million signing bonus, and $231 is fully guaranteed. It's an average annual salary of $60 million. Now, we do not know the full numbers of the contract and how it's structured, whether it's front-loaded or back-loaded. I would imagine it's probably going to be backloaded, knowing how the Cowboys do their contracts. But at the end of the day, they get this done. And the reason why it was important to get this done was with how this team is constructed, they are in win-now mode. They are not in the position to rebuild and honestly do it in a manner that other teams do. So the way that they've done it is you get Dak Prescott under contract, and now he's going to be on the team for the next 5 seasons, including this season. So 4 years after this year. Basically making him a Cowboy for life at this juncture. Then, getting CeeDee Lamb done alongside him, that's also cool. And so, Dak Prescott's going to eventually become the best quarterback in Cowboys history when it comes to statistics. Not legacy. Don't kill me in the comments on that, jeez. Because people have to realize how close he is. I believe by 2025, he should pass Tony Romo's metrics when it comes to the passing stats and things of that accord. But here we are. So you sign him. You manage to put yourself in a position where now you have your quarterback. He's going to give you a chance. Dak is no scrub. This dude is a really damn good quarterback. People will bitch and complain, oh, well, the postseason stuff is not good. It's not like he hasn't produced in the playoffs before. I'm not saying the dude hasn't had duds. He clearly has. But when we talk about his contemporaries like Lamar Jackson, for example, or Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow. Oh, well, space, at least Joe Burrow made it to a Super Bowl. Oh, space, at least the other two made it to the title game. Dude, it doesn't matter unless you win the whole thing. I'm not trying to get third place. I'm not trying to get second place. If you ain't first, you're last. Shout out to Ricky Bobby. But my thing is that you can't look at it that way. The fact is you need to have a dude that can play the position well to have a chance. And I'm going to talk about this in the next part when we get into the whole part of how the game was won in Cleveland. But you need to be able to do things outside of the quarterback position to put yourself in the best position to win. Any team that wants to play hero ball with the quarterback position, unless you have like an alien like Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady, dude, you're not going to win. And I'm not saying this to like short what Dak Prescott is doing in the sense of like, look, he's had duds in the postseason. I just said it. And I think that's the problem is like we're always looking to criticize but not really talk positively on what he has done at the quarterback position. People call me, oh, you're Dak Homer. Dude, he's my quarterback. I'm supporting him and I'm going to be right behind him until he isn't. If Cooper Rush was the starting quarterback, I'd be right behind him as well. And I think that's the thing, man. Is just it is what it is. You know, I support every player on this roster to do their thing unless you do some wacky shit off the field and where I'm like, no. But look, that's what it is. The Dallas Cowboys pay Dak Prescott. We know Dak is going to be the dude and end of story. If you like it, cool. If not, I don't really care. Whatever. You know, just grow up, dude. Because at the end of the day, I know that I get pissed off with the shortcomings, but I also have to recognize that, dude, we just have to go through the emotions. We're Cowboys fans. We don't run the organization. But good job, Cowboys. And, you know, congrats, Dak. And just go do your thing out there. And so, moving on to the actual game. The Cowboys take care of business in Cleveland, 33-17. I wanted to go over some key stats regarding the game individually, but also team stats, because there were some things that caught my eye. So Dak Prescott went 19 for 32, 179 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and he was sacked 3 times. Zeke, your leading rusher, 10 carries for 40 yards, so 4.0 yards per carry and a touchdown, longest run of 9. Rico Dowdle, 8 of 26. His longest run was 10. And then, interestingly enough, how they were getting CeeDee Lamb involved in the offense was something I was really liking to see. So the Cowboys get over 100 rushing yards on the game through 25 attempts. So around 5 yards per carry, which is cool, but they can do better. And again, I'm going to harp on that in a moment. In the receiving game for the Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb led the way. 5 receptions, 61 yards, no touchdowns. Longest reception was a 34-yarder, and he was targeted 10 times. You go to Brandin Cooks, caught the only touchdown on the day, and 4 receptions, 40 yards. And then everyone else was kind of in the less than 20 yards, which I'm not really going to care about. Then we go to the defensive side of the ball. Dude, DeMarvion Overshown, man, holy shit, he was everywhere. 11 total tackles. Led the team right behind Eric Kendricks. And also he got a sack. So you got sacks from DeMarvion Overshown, Eric Kendricks twice, DeMarcus Lawrence twice, and Micah Parsons. Dude, that defense was ferocious, to say the least. I mean, the fact is that you were able to be in a position where you caused fumbles. You got 2 interceptions. Shout out to Eric Kendricks and Trevon Diggs. Welcome back. You then also look at how they did in this run game. I mean, realistically, they shut down the Browns' run attack and made Deshaun Watson's life miserable throughout the entire game. When you sack a dude 6 times and you're pressuring him that many times, it's unbelievable. Next, going over to the team stats, which really was something that I wanted to fully circle, because there were things offensively the Cowboys can work on and things that they did very well defensively and such. The notable thing for me was that Cleveland was 2 for 15 on 3rd down and 3 for 5 on 4th down. Like, the fact that the Cowboys were shutting down the Cleveland Browns on 3rd down that much is impeccable. And that's what I wanted to see. Look, the sacks are cool. The turnovers are cool. But you need to be able to put yourself in a position where you're getting a critical stop and getting your offense out there. Because, like, that's how you're going to win games, not only in the regular season, but in the postseason. That's what you need to do. And also, shout out to Butter Aubrey and KaVontae Turpin, man. You know, those two were also key. This was a full, complete win. I understand the score says 33-17, but really, the Cowboys controlled this game from start to finish. It was 33-10 basically until like the last couple seconds. Now, could the Cowboys have done better offensively? Of course. There were things that were left out there on the field that I wish they could have done better. But they didn't need to do that much, man, honestly. And the thing, too, as we talk about the offense, the run game scares me a bit. It wasn't horrific in this game, but it needs to be better. And you were going up against a really good Cleveland Browns defense. So, you know, my expectations are not like super high in the sense of what I'm expecting yet because it's early in the season. Run games take a bit to develop sometimes. And so what they need to do is they need to be more efficient with running the football. And you saw glimpses of that. I think Zeke definitely still has some juice left in him. And that's what you hope for, right? I was kind of like, you know, we got to be careful and we shouldn't expect much, but it is what it is. So there's that. And then on top of that with this run game is that also factors the dudes in front that are blocking. You know, you got a guy like, you know, Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe starting in their first games ever against a really tough Cleveland defensive line. And they held their own, you know, for the most part. Again, like, they're not going to struggle as much as they did. Look, you're on the road. Next week, you're going to be coming home against the Saints. So, I think they'll do better. And, dude, they're young. They need more snaps so they'll get better. And I think that's going to contribute to a really good run game. So, really excited there. And from what I understand, you know, Jake Ferguson, he did suffer an injury in this game, but I think he'll be fine. So, there's that. Both teams had 11 penalties. The Cowboys were 1 for 1 in the red zone, so awesome stuff there. Thing is they did dominate the time of possession really until Cleveland kind of was just dragging themselves down the field, which is the last thing I'll talk about is on the defensive side of the ball before kind of getting into more general conversations is that when you are unable to get a stop, just don't give the opposing team chunk plays. And really, that one drive in, I believe it was the third quarter, when they took the touchdown to go to a 27-10 game, that was the like only times where they really had chunky yardage. It wasn't much. So that's something that I really do like. And I want to say that on the offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys, that's something that we're going to need to see as we move forward, is that they need to be able to get chunk yardage in the run game and in the passing game. They got some chunk plays in the passing game, but again, this kind of reminds me of week 1 last year. Like, they didn't have to do a whole lot and they won the game. I think after KaVontae Turpin scored the touchdown to go up 27-3 in the start of the third quarter, I mean, the team pretty much went on cruise control, which again, I'm not complaining because, like, what do you want these dudes to do? Like, yes, it would be awesome to win 50-0 every single game, but I know that's not possible and it's not realistic. So you win. You are tied with Philadelphia for first place in the NFC. I know, it's only 1 week, but the Cowboys take care of business. And the key thing is that that's what we want to see. And that's why I think Mike McCarthy's done a great job. I understand the postseason shit is something that needs to be worked on. But what I will say is that Mike McCarthy has done a fantastic job building a winning program here. The Cowboys win in week 1. And not only did they not win in week 1, they dominated in week 1. And I think that's what we want to see because now, shifting our attention to next week. You talk about, you know, the way that this team is trying to build momentum and how important that is, especially early on, because we talked about, okay, you're going to have to go on the road versus Cleveland. And you come back, and I believe you play, like I said, New Orleans, I know that, and then Baltimore right after that. Like, if you start off, let's just say you start off 2-1, that's great. If you start off 3-0 in that stretch, that's great. Because now what you're doing is you're getting things in a position to where you're able to build off of that. Because when you look at the Cowboys schedule, and I've said it, it's front heavy. Once you get to the second half, it's not as bad. I'm not saying it's going to be like a gimme, but like if you can get through these first 3 games, whether it be 2-1 or 3-0, good stuff. And then we talk about how the Saints did. I mean, they beat the crap out of the Panthers, but that's not saying much because Carolina looks terrible. I understand it's week 1, but still. So that should be fun. And then that's it. Look, I do want to be clear on something, though. And I know that not many fans will like what I had to say. Bro, it's just week 1. Look, I'm not going to tell you how to fan. If you want to say that this team's back, they're going to do all this shit, be my guest. But for me, I'm just going to sit here, enjoy what we're doing, and keep moving along. Because you got to take this thing week by week. If you don't, you kind of just run into this thing where your brain starts going into this whole, oh, we're going to win this, and then we're going to do that. I mean, take it week by week. I'm happy they won. I'm not trying to sit here and be a negative Nancy about this, but all I'm saying is look, just calm down. Let's enjoy this win. Then after Monday, let's move forward. So, this is the last video that I'm doing in my apartment, and I've been here since the start of the Mike McCarthy era. And it's going to be interesting moving because, you know, a lot's been done here. You know, I'm not saying that for God's sake, I wish the Cowboys would do something better, but I digress. But it's been fun recording here. And so, when you guys see me next, I should be in the house. If I'm not, I do want to get a video out talking about the Saints game upcoming. So, whether it's done here or at the new house, it's been a pleasure being in here. I understand, like, the background. Don't worry, things are going to get fixed up. And so, it's going to look a lot different. But whether that be the next video or the recap for sure, I'm not sure. But I think this is going to be the last video in this apartment. So, it's been one hell of a journey, and I appreciate you guys for being alongside me for that. But yeah, I will see you guys in a couple days, and we'll talk about the upcoming game versus the Saints, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, have a good one. Enjoy the win, and let's go Cowboys. We are 17-0 until we're not.